What's going on, everybody? It's Geoff Grammer at the ABQJournal, and I am in the pit for, we're about 49 minutes away now from the UNM Lobos taking on the UT-Arlington Mavericks for the second regular season game of the season for UNM. They were victorious, as most of you guys know by now. Was that Wednesday night in the pit against East Texas A&M, formerly Texas Commerce. And anyway, back in the pit. We're back at it. Let me give you, I know you guys love seeing me and all, but let me do this so you guys can see, not more me, less me. There we go. Hey, look at that. I still have the banner from the old game. I'll take that one down. But you guys can send in your questions and comments, and I will get to you guys here in just a minute. Starters are not yet named. Got Josh Gallegos in on YouTube already checking in on the starters. I will let you know that as of right now, there are no starters listed. That usually happens, I guess, about 30 minutes before the game is when they usually update that. I've been told nothing dramatic about today's game that would indicate they're going to be going to any different starters. As I'm talking to you guys right now, I am still posting the links to today's show, excuse me, on YouTube here and on other socials. Sorry about that. All right, so let's preview it. Let's do it. UNM Lobos are 13.5-point favorites. Last I checked, I can update that right now. UNM is nice and quick here, right? According to, let's go to ESPN. Yeah, still 13.5-point favorites against the UT-Arlington, who is 1-0. And UT-Arlington beat up on an NAIA school earlier this week, UNT Dallas, University of North Texas Dallas. The Mavericks beat them up. One familiar face for those who maybe really were paying attention, but 3 years ago, an Air Force player, Marcel McCrary, is now on this UT-Arlington team, and he had a really good game the other day for the Mavericks. He transferred from Northern Colorado. He played the last 2 seasons at Northern Colorado after transferring out of Air Force 2 years ago. So I don't know who UTA starters are going to be, and I don't know for sure yet who UNM starters are going to be. We'll post those as soon as we know. Let's go 505. Infinite Consciousness is in on YouTube saying, let's go 505. I am posting your comments as they're coming in. We got another one from Infinite saying, Lobos basketball 2-0 after tonight's game. I would certainly expect that to be the case at 13.5-point favorites. You would expect that that's likely, but let's be real about what the Mountain West has done this week. Monday, things started off with Boise State losing to a Division II team. Tuesday, UNLV lost at home as 16.5-point favorites to UT Martin. Wednesday, no upsets, I guess. Well, no, I'm sorry. There was an upset Wednesday. Fresno State is a 9.5-point favorite at home, lost to University of South Carolina Upstate. Did not know that was even a school, and I know schools. I didn't know that was a school. University of South Carolina Upstate beat Fresno State in Fresno as 9.5-point favorites were the Bulldogs. Thursday, there were no upsets in the Mountain West, and there were also no games in the Mountain West, so that's the reason that happened. Last night in the Mountain West, back to the upsets, and Grand Canyon loses at home in front of their great home crowd, the Havoc, the student section. Grand Canyon picked 4th in the Mountain West, loses at home to Youngstown State, and they were 15.5-point favorites, I believe it was. So not a good start for the Mountain West. Way too early to call it a horrible non-conference overall for the Mountain West. If they got all their bad losses out in the first week, we're still in the realm of it being salvageable, of course. But, man, considering that's the only sample size we have so far, that's a horrible start for this league. San Diego State, preseason favorite, took care of business. Wednesday night, UNM, the 5th seed in the preseason poll, took care of business. Utah State, the number 2 pick in the preseason poll, is taking care of business. But as we stand right now, number 3 is already lost, number 4 is already lost, number 6 is already lost in UNLV, and then drop down to Fresno State at number 9 is already lost as well. Let me update this little ticker here. No, not the StreamYard ticker. I'm trying to update the little thing that goes across the bottom here. And You guys have to bear with me here. As always, I apologize for not having all of this ready. I'm still in preseason, early season mode, and forgot to update the ticker. And it says we're playing that I'm covering UT or East Texas A&M against the Lobos. I am covering UT-Arlington against the Lobos in Game 2 of the Eric Olin era. Here we go. Across the bottom now. So let's get to some of your questions about this game. Tommy Tom is in off of YouTube. Hey, Geoff, what is going on with this league? Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have pulled this up while I was talking about this league. You beat me to it, and I didn't get to pull up your question in time. But yeah, Tommy Tom's asking what's going on with this league now. Grand Canyon bites the dust. I think we're down to 4 teams that look legit: San Diego State, Utah State, UNM, and Colorado State. It's those 4 teams at the top. Well, Nevada, you got to throw Nevada in there too, because they took care of business in a big way. 20-point win over a Louisiana Tech team that's not great. But when you're talking about all these upsets happening, you beat someone at home by 20 who's not horrible. Yeah, you're taking care of business. That's what you're supposed to do, right? And Nevada did what they're supposed to do. New Mexico did what they're supposed to do with the 22-point win on Wednesday. San Diego State did what they're supposed to do, and Utah State's done what they're supposed to do. So in terms of week 1, if we're grading week 1, actually just Monday through Friday, week 1 actually won't complete until tomorrow. There's more games tomorrow, and then obviously a full slate of games today. So if we're just talking through the first 5 games, those are the teams that took care of business. But you're right, man. This is a what the heck is going on kind of start for the Mountain West too. As those, I mean, all you guys following me on here probably know this because I say it enough, but in the last 4 years, the Mountain West has had 18 teams in the NCAA tournament. So this isn't a one-bid league for 4 years in a row. It's been 4 teams got in, 4 teams got in, 6 teams got in, 4 teams got in. So this is a league that gets multiple teams in on a regular basis, and sure doesn't look like things are off to a very good start in that regard so far, because when you get into league play, if you have a horrible non-conference league-wide, that's what the net rankings are all based on, right? Those are where your quad 1s and quad 2s come from, and if nobody in the league is going to be a quad 1 relevant team, well, then the Mountain West isn't going to load up on quad 1 wins. When come NCAA tournament time, their resumes aren't going to look good. Even the team that does get in, even the San Diego State, if they run away with this league, they're not going to have a lot of quad 1 wins to get a very good seed. So that's the importance of right now, right? So people say, okay, first game of the year, Boise State loses to a D2 team. What does it really matter? Well, when you start racking up upset losses early in the year, it does matter to the entire league. Infinite's in on YouTube, giving a prediction. 79-69 UNM. That would be a UT-Arlington cover, but a 10-point win. I think a comfortable 10-point win is something a lot of people would probably take. I would actually tell you that I feel confident that the Lobos will probably go ahead and cover that 13.5 today, not because I have any bad feelings or any lack of respect for UT-Arlington. I think they're a pretty good team, although they do have a whole lot of new faces. So, what do I know? They got a lot of Power 5 conference level transfers that came in. But what I would tell you is that I think New Mexico's offense is starting slowly to come around. And I don't know that they're going to knock down all their shots, but one of these games they're going to knock down a whole bunch of shots. And people are going to be like, oh, okay, that's what everyone was talking about when they were talking about this Eric Olin offense. So so far they haven't shown that. But yeah, I if I'm leaning one way or the other, I would say the Lobos do cover the 13.5 today. But this is a much better UT-Arlington team than was East Texas A&M on Wednesday night. Got John Romero in on YouTube telling us, open point guard Albury, that's right, Dayton Albury, gets more comfortable, and the rest of the team builds confidence and experience. Tough battles lie ahead in the Mountain West. Bouillon needs some help in the trenches. So you're not wrong about either one of those. Dayton Albury needing to come around, but I'll start with your comment there. And the band's got it going today. They're loud. But let's start with the Dayton Albury comment. Dayton Albury is a guy who, because he's a fifth-year guy, and he has done it at the Division I level, back when he was a 18.6 assists per game kind of guy at Queens, or 7 assists, I believe, at Queens. What he did at Utah State last year, despite them kind of running a system that wasn't as geared towards him as this one is, as a dynamic kind of speedy point guard. He's proven it at the D1 level before he got here. I would say I'm not too worried that he will get that going again. Now when? I mean, shoot, they sure hope today would be a good start. Like they could use it, but I'm not overly concerned that Dayton Albury is going to get it going. Now, to the second part, Thomas on Bouillon needing help in the trenches. You're not wrong necessarily, but I would remind Lobo fans that this is not a team that plays in the trenches that much. This is not a team that is going to dominate any team really in the trenches, and that may be worrisome for the Boise States of the world and the San Diego States of the world. And this is a team that's got to find ways to beat them elsewhere, right? And they have in the past. Let's remember, this UC San Diego team that Eric Owen coached went to Viejas. Was in a one possession game a couple years ago when they played at UCSD. They were in a tight game down to the final minute of the game in Viejas just a year ago. Like they find a way to sort of counteract the fact that this is not a team designed to play in the trenches that much. This is a Lobo team that has size. Their size is fine. They got size, positional size across the board. They just don't use it like traditional teams. And Lobo fans are going to have to get used to that. There's a lot of emails and DMs and messages on social that I've been getting with people saying, why won't he do this? Why won't he throw it down into the paint to the big man? That isn't this offense. And Eric Owen wasn't hired to get a bunch of big men and change what he does to fit like these players. He was hired because his system made him a hot coaching commodity. Put the system in. He recruited this entire roster to fit that system. And this is not a system that is traditional, back to the basket, throw it down low to a big man kind of basketball. So you're not wrong that Thomas on Bouillon is going to need some help on the rebounding front. But I would just kind of, again, caution anybody expecting this to look like traditional big man basketball down low. It's never going to look like that with the Lobos. Nicholas Zaroswa? Help me out, Nicholas. Am I even close when I'm saying Zaroswa? Zaroswa, how about that? So Nicholas is in on YouTube, thinking the two freshmen might be the best combo for both guard positions, I think is what you meant, because you have FUAD here, and have Albury come off the bench. I would disagree, but that isn't based on anything that he has shown so far. Dayton Albury needs to be the starting point guard on this team for them to be good. I wouldn't say that the exhibitions and that Wednesday night would prove to me or really anybody that he needs to come off the bench. Now, I say that, I mean, Eric Owen may, until he gets it going, be the kind of coach to take him off the bench for a while. But for this team to be at its best, Dayton Albury needs to attack that rim, draw in the defense, kick it out, draw fouls. They need Dayton Albury to run the point for this team, with Uriah Tennette getting big minutes too, though. Those two together maybe on the floor more than I would have anticipated could be something. But no, I would disagree that Dayton Albury needs to come off the bench. Long-term, this team needs Dayton Albury to not only be a starter, but be their best player, I think, in a lot of ways. And I think he probably will be. But I don't argue with anybody who's basing it on what they've seen so far, because he's not shown that so far. Yeah, if I just look down at the next comment before I read these comments, I would see that you would fix that before I commented on it. So, yeah, guard is what you mean. I apologize for that. Adam's in on X. Adam is telling us that he thinks the pit will go crazy when the Lobos hit 6-7. I don't get it. I'm an old dude, but yeah, not only do I think there will be a little bit louder of a cheer, I think there should be. Let's do it, man. Ride out whatever the heck this little trend is. Like, ride it out, man. Have fun with it. Watching the guy walk on some folding chairs right now and just fell as one folded. Imagine that. So there we go. Like all those videos we've been seeing of college games across the country. Adam, what's up? Yeah, so I do. And yeah, so for those that don't know, there are at least two that kind of went semi-viral yesterday. Day games where some schools play games. Women's basketball does this an awful lot. Around the Mountain West, they do that too. But they do day games where elementary school kids can take a field trip during a weekday day game, and they do a children's game. They call it education games or whatever they want to call it. And for example, University of Evansville, Indiana, yesterday, where Craig Snow, former Lobo assistant, former Bosque School, former New Mexico Highlands assistant, Craig Snow is an assistant there, and University of Evansville is playing a team, and they were at 64 points. A player hits a three, gets a 67, and the arena goes crazy. A bunch of 8-year-olds out there just doing 6-7, and they went crazy. Old guys like me don't get it, but it's not for us to get. It's for the kids to enjoy. It's all for the kids, really, right? looking forward to Kalai Patton. Great potential. So Kalai Patton, you might be talking about Kevin Patton, his older brother, the USC transfer. They're both USC transfers. Kevin Patton has tremendous athleticism, is not yet kind of fit into what Eric wants him to do offensively and defensively. But, yeah, he's going to be a guy that his athleticism alone is going to be needed, and it's going to help this team down the stretch. But he's not ready, kind of like Tamil Pons. A lot of people ask why he's not getting minutes right now. Well, he hasn't shown yet that he knows the offense and defense well enough to get those minutes. I don't think in either case it's a talent or athleticism question. I just don't think he's doing quite yet what the coaches want to see in the offense and the defense. So that is what Kevin Patton, I think, I would say the holdup is there a little bit, but athleticism is off the charts. Kalai Patton, for those that don't know, the younger brother of Kevin Patton, he has an injury. He's not playing. When they want to announce the full details of that, I'll let them do so. Justin Martinez, haha. What's with the Albury hate? Have y'all seen the guy play? I promise he's a star. He will get going. So, yeah, those that have seen Dayton Albury understand this. But those who haven't, I get it, right? Like, all you've seen so far is Dayton Albury go 1 for 11 on a stat box against Washington State. I was there. I saw it. Then he goes 0 for 5 in an exhibition against Northern Arizona. I got to tell you, I even forget what he did on Wednesday night. It wasn't off the charts, though. 2 for 8. So he went 2 for 8 on Wednesday. So we're talking about a guy so far that has hit 3 shots in 2 exhibitions and 1 regular season game. He's hit 3 shots, and it's not for a lack of attempts. He needs to get it going. He just does. He knows that. The team knows that. But I promise you, he's proven it at the Division I level, so I expect him to do so. Adam Zan, after a week of Mountain West basketball, you have any changes you would make of your end-of-season predictions? I'll tell you what I like about my end-of-season predictions that not a lot of people agreed with me on. It's 2 things. One is, I don't think a lot of Lobo fans right now who are really still skeptical agree after watching the Lobos play that I picked them 5th, and some people thought they should be lower. Like, I don't understand what the continued Lobo skepticism is after 1 game that they won by 22, but there is some of that still. But I was happy to put UNLV down the list at 8 in my preseason picks. I picked UNM at 4th, actually, and that's right, I picked them 4th. They were picked 5th in the media poll. But, yeah, I thought UNLV would really struggle. They're not only injured, I don't know that Josh Pastner is the guy that's going to get them going really early. I don't like the roster makeup, to be honest, of UNLV, even if they were healthy, but they aren't. So, yeah, I didn't expect, while I still thought they'd beat UT Martin at home as a 16.5-point favorite, I was less surprised by that one than maybe some other ones. Up and down, though, Nevada maybe should have gone high. Well, I don't know, because I had Nevada right after Colorado State. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I already picked New Mexico ahead of Grand Canyon, so kind of switching those like some people might be doing now, I don't think they're doing. I'm not willing to totally bail on Boise State, although I did pick them 2nd over Utah State. I was wrong, frankly, there. I should have done Utah State at 2. This is clearly a number 1 San Diego State, number 2 Utah State kind of league right now. But who would I put 3rd right now is a question. Let's see. I mean, after 1 game, if you just look at results and don't try and guess what might happen, if you're just looking at what happened this week, I would say maybe New Mexico's at number 3. You can't put Grand Canyon there. You can't put UNLV or Boise State there with their losses if you're just looking at 1 week. Colorado State, maybe you put it 3. Nevada, maybe you put it 3. But I would say Nevada, Colorado State, New Mexico are all in that 3, 4, 5 range, right? Of if you're just looking at week 1, they've just got to be. So let's see what else we got going here, guys. John Romero's in on YouTube saying, no hate on Albury, recognize that he is the hub and key for the engine system to run on all cylinders. Yeah, I think most people kind of understand that, but there's something to be said, or at least asked, and frankly, maybe a good beat writer. I point at myself not saying I'm a good beat writer. I'm saying if I was a good beat writer, maybe I would have already addressed this with Eric Olin. But, yeah, what point does a guy who's struggling, who you know you need, and you have confidence will get there, but he is struggling right now, at what point do you kind of scale back on the guy that's struggling as opposed to playing him to work through that struggle, right? And at some point, that is a question that every coach has to ask. We're way too early in week 1 and game 2 to really be there yet. where you really scale back Dayton Albury. I think you try and have him work through it on the court in games. But look, we got another game, UC Riverside. You probably do that again on Tuesday. Next Saturday is a more important game, right? It's the New Mexico State game in Las Cruces. After that, you're going to Kansas City, and you're playing two teams that are going to be heavily favored against you on a neutral court in Nebraska, and then the winner of Mississippi State or Kansas State. So, or winner or loser, depending on what New Mexico does against Nebraska in the Hall of Fame Classic. So in those games, maybe you can't afford to sort of ride out 30 minutes of Dayton Albury if he's still struggling. I would be surprised if he's still struggling, though. Like, he is a guy that is the unquestioned point guard on this team and shows that in practice. He just hasn't in games yet. Does Boise State need to win the tournament at this point after the loss? No. That's the crazy thing about it. It's Joshua Gallegos on YouTube. As David Warlock, the NCAA's head media guy, like, it took to Twitter or X and took to social media to remind people, Division II games and results show up on the team sheet. The team sheet is kind of like the team-by-team Bible of each team. It tells the NCAA selection committee everything you need to know about that team's season, the results, how the computer rankings rank them, if they beat a team that was considered a quad 1 win, I guess I should go the other way, quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, or quad 4. They kind of rank them, right? They sort them. They do all that kind of stuff. But here's the thing. Division II games don't affect any of the computer rankings. While they do show up on that team sheet, so nobody's going to forget it, none of the computer metrics are going to be skewed by the fact that they lost to a Division II team. So in terms of quad 1 games or quad 2 games and all that kind of good stuff, like, it's not going to affect any of that. So Boise State doesn't still need to just win the Mountain West tournament to get in the NCAA tournament. But, man, if they're a bubble team, there's nobody on that committee that's going to magically forget that they lost to a Division II team, even though the computer metrics don't necessarily reflect that. So while I'm not there yet, man, that was a bad loss. How do you think we stack up against NMSU? It's a good question, man. NMSU is almost an entirely new team, too. Got a couple guys back, but everybody worried about a New Mexico team that's so brand new. Like, New Mexico State ain't far off, man. They're quite new as well. And I would say this. I want to see this UT-Arlington team kind of get up in the Lobos today defensively and play physical with them and do what New Mexico State's going to do to them next week, which is get up in them defensively, be aggressive, be physical, try and get those rebounds. Then we could see how they handle. Because if I have any questions about this New Mexico team so far, I would say ball handling overall is one of them. I think they're all good ball handlers. I think everybody is skilled enough that they're decent ball handlers. But who are the point guards that are going to individually break a press, right? A struggling Dayton Albury right now. I would say Uriah Tenet can. But like that, you don't have a whole lot of guys that I would say are going to break the press against really good on-ball defenders. So a little worried about that. If NMSU rather has some on-ball defenders that can force some turnovers and be just a portion of what Jalen House used to be, nobody can beat Jalen House. But if you could be a little bit like that pest, that on-ball pest like Jalen House used to be, I do question how this Lobo team would respond to that. So I need to see more of NMSU to really know and really answer that question. But those are my concerns. Rebounding, which NMSU is going to do, and on-ball defense. Those things concern me a little bit about this Lobo team. What doesn't concern me is their shooting, which they haven't shown yet. But I would tell you that they're still going to be fine shooting. And I think their offense is efficient enough that they're going to be fine there. New Mexico State has not traditionally been a great offensive, efficiently speaking anyway, offense. And if you're an inefficient offense against this Lobo zone, you get ugly offensively. So I would say New Mexico State, New Mexico is going to be a low-scoring slugfest kind of game. We'll see. Josh Gallegos back in on YouTube. So with that, would a loss like a quad 4 Air Force be worse technically for them? Yeah, it actually would be. And it's kind of ridiculous, but I understand the reasoning, the rationale. The reasoning is if you counted Division II games towards all the computer rankings, a blowout like 100-20, if you just really, really dominated that non-D1 team. And remember, you can play NAIA teams. This UT-Arlington team just played an NAIA team earlier this week and beat up on them. East Texas A&M, the team that the Lobos played Wednesday, their first game against Arlington Baptist is a team that competes in the National Christian Collegiate Athletic Association. They're not even junior college, Division I, Division II, Division III, or NIA. They are in the National Christian Collegiate Athletic Association. So if the NCAA allowed Division I teams to count those games efficiently in the computers and all the data that goes in, it would skew those numbers so bad with all these blowout wins that you just say, okay, don't count them. Now, when a team loses to one of those non-Division ones, everyone's clamoring for, well, it should count, man. It should hurt him. It should hurt him. And I get it. I don't even necessarily disagree, but there's just not really a good way to make those games count only when they're bad and not count when they're really good. That's just not how that works. So they just don't count at all to the computer rankings. You guys got to bear with me while I take a drink of the non-sponsored Coca-Cola product that I snuck into the arena. That's right. This is a Pepsi facility. Fernando Lobo, I apologize. Where are we at here? Mark Fuentes is in. How surprised are you about Jake Hall's performance so far? I love his savvy, but really don't want a repeat of Amzil where he's constantly hunting the three and not being efficient at it. I'd say two things. Surprised a little bit. I think he's really good. The Amzil comparison, I'll say this. Jake Hall was recruited to be a little bit more than a three-point shooter, but primarily because this offense needs somebody to knock down so many threes. That is what Jake Hall was brought in to do. I think Jake Hall's a better three-point shooter than Mustafa Amzil. I do think he's going to hunt threes, but that's going to be by design. I do think Richard Pitino would have preferred Mustafa Amzil to scale back the hunting of those threes when he was struggling so much. So I hear what you're saying. It got pretty frustrating for a lot of fans watching Mustafa Amzil hunt for threes when he wasn't making any, right? But that isn't exactly what I see with Jake Hall. If I'm surprised by anything, I'm surprised that he's shown some low post moves that were surprising. Caught some people off guard, although his teammates have been talking him up all preseason. I'm surprised Jake Hall's missed as many open threes as he has because I've seen him in practice. He is statistically the best three-point shooter on this team in practice. They chart every single practice. Every single time they scrimmage, every shooting drill they do, they chart everything. And Jake Hall's the best shooter on this team. And I would tell you I'm maybe more surprised that he missed as many open threes as he has. So, and he's been good still. Like, that's not even to say he's missed everything. But I would say if he's going to take that many open threes, I would expect him to even hit more than he has. So, I think Jake Hall's going to be good. I think you're right. That's going to be good. I really like the preview article in today's Albuquerque Journal was about how their freshmen are getting off to such good starts in an era where freshmen, their roles on mid to high major teams just isn't there anymore, unless you're talking top 50 recruits that are one-and-done types, the Dukes of the world. There's a lot of talk about those kind of guys right now on ESPN and the national sites. We're talking maybe off the top 15 kind of recruiting classes down to the rest of college basketball. You're not going to see a ton of freshmen play. Got three of them that were the best players on the court Wednesday night for the Lobos. Remember, Tomislav Buljan is a freshman, played his first college game on Wednesday. He just happens to be a freshman. He's 22 years old and has played 3 years in the Croatian Pro League. So, all right, Mike on X is saying, how are free throw defense? You know what? I got asked that the other night too. I'm so neglecting my duties. You guys expect stuff out of me, and I am letting you down. So let me tell you how the free throw defense was the other night. Not very good. I'm sorry, very good. UT-Arlington shot 63.6%. That would rank 80th out of 365 Division I teams this year. So, yeah, the free throw defense is good. Not great. Last year, remember, it was led the country free throw defense out of 364. There's one extra D1 team this year. But, the free throw defense is ranked 80th in the country. So, I should have known that. My apologies. Ski Wookie's in. How do you think your drinks are going to go this season? And that's a good question, right? Like, they scaled back on the drinks last year. Like, I don't know if it's by design, if they talked about it or what, but there were a lot fewer video reviews last year. And I wonder if that'll be continued trend this year or not. But I'll say a resurgence, a little bit of a resurgence this year. A few more video reviews, a few more drinks this year. A little tipsy before writing that final game story, have some fun here. We're having fun. Joshua on YouTube. I know it's early, but what's the likelihood of keeping both of them for multiple years? No idea. I don't know them well enough to know. I don't know the revenue sharing scenario at UNM moving forward well enough to know. I will tell you that both of them are really, really committed. We're talking freshman Jay Call, and you're right, it's I'm assuming. But they really are appreciative of the fact that Eric Olin recruited them in the first place when nobody else was. They like the fact that Eric Olin is trusting them enough to play them early, first week of the season. They're pretty loyal. Loyalty gets you only so much, and while people like to use that as kind of to weaponize that term, loyalty, it also makes sense for a young kid who may not be a future NBA player to make their money now while they can. So if they get offered enough money, it's going to be hard for UNM to keep them. But I would also point out UNM has a really competitive rev share / NIL. Technically, it's not NIL anymore; it's rev share. But they got a really competitive system to keep to retain and recruit players. Tommy Tom's in on YouTube. With all the San Diego connections on the Lobo roster, the last game for UNM at Viejas in this Mountain West era, I should say, should have some good drama. I would think so. I would say the San Diego State team is much better than this Lobo team this season. But we'll see how it plays out, right? I mean, I'm basing all that on preseason predictions of mine and others and what they've looked like in just one game. So a few more games into the season, maybe we'll start adjusting expectations a little bit. But, as of right now, I would say San Diego State's probably a much better team. But that doesn't mean there won't be a little bit of drama, and certainly a lot of familiar faces for this coaching staff that UNM has and for the players that UNM has, with a lot of players from the area as well. Mark Fuentes back in on YouTube. Does the personality of Olin make it harder or easier to ask tough questions after the game than Pitino? I go a lot of ways with this question. I guess the easiest answer is I don't know yet, because I haven't really had to ask Olin many tough questions so far. I asked him the other day about his team didn't shoot very well, and he's like, yeah, I agree. Like, and he laid in more than any tone of a question could have. Like, he knows it. I've never once been scared to ask a tough question if warranted, whether it was confrontational moments with me and Craig Neal at press conferences. Like, that is my job, and I don't hold it against a coach, how they respond to it. If they're a jerk about it, if they're nice about it, I don't hold or hide them to any different standard based on how they respond to my questions, because it is a weird situation seeing one ugly face after every single game who asks questions like, hey, that job you just did, and I know you're probably pretty frustrated you lost, but here you go, here I am. Why don't you tell me why you lost? Why did you screw up? Why didn't you perform very well? Like, I'm the guy that gets to ask that all the time. So, yeah, coaches sometimes get sick of hearing me ask them to explain themselves, right? We all would. The same person asked you every day after work when you made a mistake or didn't have a good day, and asked you, hey, what happened when you didn't have your good day today? Like, yeah, you get pretty sick of that. So I don't blame coaches sometimes for their reactions. But to answer your question, I don't know yet for sure how Eric Olin will handle tough questions, or if they're losing, if he's going to start getting frustrated. I just don't know yet. And Pitino, I mean, that guy, I don't care. Like, if he didn't like a question, he'd be a smart ass about it, and that's fine. If he liked a question, he'd still be a smart ass about it, and that's fine. Pitino was a very unique in how he handled the media and his interactions with the media. Not everyone's like that or going to be like that, and that's fine. But yeah, I never once had a concern about asking Pitino a tough question. I don't think I'll have that same issue with Olin either, but we shall find out. All right, Martin Peralta's in on YouTube. He's expecting a little bigger role for Pons. Anything behind the lack of minutes? So I kind of touched on this a little bit early when somebody had asked about Patton. I would say this, I don't see a skill set question or a potential question in Tamayo Pons. I don't think he knows the offense and defense as well as the coaches would like him to just yet, and that's, again, another thing that's not to be unexpected. He played for the FIBA under-19 national team for France. Didn't get here till either late July, maybe it might have even been August that he got here. So he's only been here August, September, and October, right? He's been here 3 months, whereas others have been here 4 or 5 months. That's a big time. Some of them have been here twice as long as him, basically, almost. I just don't think he's ready yet to play, but that doesn't mean that he can't get there and get up to speed. He is a true freshman, and he's only had one regular season game. And they're playing 11 guys. They played 12 guys the other night. So I don't know. I guess the question kind of comes to twofold. One answer is I don't think he's ready yet in terms of knowing the offense and defense. The other is who should he play over? Who's getting the minutes that he shouldn't? And I don't know the answer to that either. So I'm not used to talking this much this week with the election show, football show, basketball pregame shows. All right, we're 14 minutes away from tip-off. I'm going to check in on the starting lineup, get the rest of your questions, and sign off here. As I'm doing all that, I'll remind you, please, to support local journalism, do so. ABQJournal.com/subscribe is how you can subscribe to our print edition or our digital edition. And it helps local journalism. Stuff like this, I get it. It's not just the physical paper. It's not just reading our stories online. Stuff like this has also helped when you subscribe to the Albuquerque Journal and hit subscribe here. If you're on YouTube, go subscribe to the Journal's YouTube page. If you're on X, subscribe to or follow me, I guess is what that would be. Wherever you're following along, please just subscribe, like, all that good stuff. But if you really can give some help to local journalism and shows like this, it is abqjournal.com/subscribe. No smart-ass Gene with Olin. I don't know yet. Not yet. He hasn't shown it yet. He's a very likable, very nice guy. I have no problems with Eric Olin. But he is not the smart-ass Richard Pitino is, that's for sure. But that's to be expected. Richard Pitino, for those that don't know, bit of a smart-ass. Some sarcasm with Richard Pitino, too. Breaking news. Gigi, don't run yourself ragged too much with dual basketball and football coverage. You have a future election runoff to cover. I'm telling you, man. You might be thinking you're making a joke. Got a meeting this week about what we're doing on runoff night and what Geoff's role will be, even though I'll be in Virginia covering the VCU game. I'll be in Richmond, Virginia, and may remotely have a role in our live election night, runoff election night coverage. So. All right, guys, let me tell you who the starting lineups are. I hit refresh on this page. I will see that our starters will be posted shortly. So I guess I don't know starters yet. Is UNM posted? Starting five for UNM. UNM's posted their starters, and it will be the same as the other night. Dayton Albury, Antonio Chol, Chris Howell, Tomislav Bullion, and Jake Hall. Some good Lobo fans in this. Some good fans indeed. All right, guys. So I do not yet see the, like I said, I do not yet see the starting lineups posted. But what's up, man? Got Uriah Tenette's dad giving us a little love, a little pregame love. One last update here. Yep, no update. Okay, so there we are. Lobos and UT-Arlington starting in about 12 minutes, 11 minutes, something like that. And hope you guys follow our coverage, abqjournal.com, where you'll see my post-game story and more in-depth game story later tonight. See a photo gallery tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning. Check out our Emptying the Notebook column. That's the one that's got all the junk, all the good stuff, right? That's the goodies. That's like the Christmas morning stocking, but also like the best gifts are in that one. The game story is just the Christmas Eve small present. The Emptying the Notebook is the stocking, all the stuff under the tree, everything I can fit in there. That's the good stuff, right? Like that? I like that. Some of you guys all open your presents on Christmas Day. You guys aren't like us older kids. You never got to do that. Us older kids. Or cardboard cutouts. Or if you, for free throw defense, yeah, they probably do need some. I see mine over there. I see my fat head. You guys see my fat head around the show? I see my fat head over there in the student section. So while you guys can see my fat head head's over there. Actually, how about this? See if you guys can see it here. Where did it go? Where did it go? I was going to show you guys my fat head over there. See if we can see it over there, guys. I don't know if I can zoom in any further here. I can only zoom out. I'm as zoomed in as this little cheap webcam will go, but I do got my fat head over there, I promise you. All right, guys. Let me take this off the screen here. Put myself back up on the screen so you can see more of me. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, asking all the questions and filling all the content for the show. 9 minutes to game time. UNM Lobos versus UT-Arlington coming up. Follow our post-game coverage. Thanks, guys.